Welcome to the $1 Million Listening Podcast. In this show, we aim to help people grow in all areas of life with the focus of getting to the next level. I'm your host, Mari Wines, realtor, marketing guru, real estate coach, and co-owner of E3 Realty. Welcome to the podcast, Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Oh, thank you for having us.
So, are you going to say something?
I was going to say thanks, but I'm not sure yet. So we'll see at the end if I thank you for this. See where this goes.
So the purpose of this episode is because being married to a realtor can be pretty challenging.
Amazing.
I'm the realtor in my relationship, so I know. I'm not saying anything bad about you because I am the you in my relationship.
Poor Diego.
And so I know that you guys have been together for quite a while now, right? How long?
We have been together for 22 years. Married, we just celebrated 17 years of marriage in May.
Congratulations.
What date in May?
The day
He knows.
before my brother. 21st, fool.
You're the 21st and he's the 22nd?
It's actually
You're the
day
20th.
after. We're the 21st.
Oh, he's the 20th. Yeah.
Okay,
He's the 20th, we're the 21st.
I had to
That's
see
how
if
I
you
know my
remember.
anniversary is coming, when I see his wife post a happy anniversary the day before. And I'm like, oh, better get my shit together. It's tomorrow.
So I'm thinking that you guys have had quite the successful relationship, which successful does not mean perfect, but maybe some other people who are in relationships with realtors will benefit from some of the challenges you've overcome and maybe the practices that you use to work through this amazing realtor life.
Yes, I think a lot of people can learn from it as we continue to learn.
Oh, yes.
It's
totally.
if you stop learning, then or trying or figuring it out, then it just gets, I think, stale, bad, ugly, boring, all of those things. So
Yeah, you definitely have to choose someone who's willing to do the work because you constantly have to do the work forever and ever.
you really do. It's, the old idea of like the hunt from the male side, the hunt of the bride, and then you get the bride, and then you want to put your bride as like your trophy, like it's completed.
Your peachy ride.
Yeah, right. And then it's over. Like, we did it. That's the beginning of forever.
Yeah.
And if you stop there, then it's just not good for anybody involved. That's my take.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and as humans, like, we're always changing. So it's either choosing to change together or, that's like when people start to go down different paths. And it's like, okay, let's take a time out and figure out what's going on because,
Yeah, I was just thinking about you too today because I've been thinking about this podcast. And I was thinking about how in today's age, a lot of couples wait until they're older to get married. And I'm thinking that's so hard because you've already developed all these habits and all these things. But I'm like, it's probably just as hard because now you're developing that, you're in the relationship developing them and changing the same way that these single people have. And it's probably equally challenging.
Yeah, well, that's the same, like if you're not the same person you were in high school, it's the same type of thing. We're not the same people we were when we got married.
Yeah.
And, we've changed so much. I mean, we've been married 17 years, 3 kids, 3 dogs, 2 cats, and a partridge in a pear tree. So, you add all of that in, and it's a lot. It's a lot. So, you have to change and evolve and figure it out. And then a career where it never stops. It's,
So let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
How did you guys meet? How did your love story begin?
Yeah, Mr. Smith, how did it begin?
Began with a lot of jealousy. No. It began in high school. Well, for me, I guess from my angle, it began in high school or the year after I was out of high school. So we're talking 2000, 2001. Yeah. So it had to be 2000. Yeah. It's a long time ago. We were in kind of the same circle and knew each other then. I was friends with her boyfriend at that time in high school, and her friends were around, and so it was like a group of us, kind of always, maybe 6, 7, 8 people. We always kind of hung out, and then they broke up, and then I saw her alone one night. that was that was a bad way to describe that. But I ran
That's
into
when
her.
you hunted me?
I hunted her down.
Not started.
I hunted her down at the 7-Eleven, and there she was. And I was like, "That's it. She's not going anywhere else ever again."
All because of a Slurpee.
I thought it was more because of the milkshake. No, I was infatuated with her, and then we just started kind of hanging out from there. And her work schedule at that time, if I'm correct, wow, this is going to be good if I could pull this off, was that she worked at a call center.
I did.
Yeah, and her work schedule was like 1 to 9 or 2 to 10 p.m. And I was working at Domino's Pizza at the time, and I worked nights as well. So it kind of lined up so we could see each other. And then we were friends. We were friends for a long time, like too long, man. She friend zoned me right away.
I did.
That's why it lasted 22 years.
And I
She
really
would have given it up on day one.
I would have left.
Oh,
You're right.
sure.
I would have captured
So
it.
would she.
Wow. 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 That was probably the best line you've ever said to me.
It was so good.
Yeah, I
Mark.
would have been the game would have been over, right? But she was like so true to who she was at that time. And we just started hanging out more and more, and like we became friends. And then I just fell in love with her, and I was like, dang it. Like, I remember her coming to my apartment in Lodi, so she would drive 45 minutes away in the middle of the night.
It took me like 30.
Well, she drives fast, like a crazy. She drives like a crazy, still. Like, it's wild. I don't even think her cars come with brakes. Like, it's...
You don't need them.
No, you don't. If everyone just gets out of your way, you don't. So anyway, yeah, she would come out there, and like she would spend the night in my apartment, and we would just hang out and like still friend zoned for hell long. And we just created like this bond and relationship. And then once I broke down all of the resistance, all of the barriers that she had put up, I didn't know that at the time, but we were 19, probably 19, 20 at the most. I became a professional at handling objections through her. She threw every single one of them at me. And who knew? It would be so fitting for my career. But yeah, and then finally we became like a couple, I guess, boyfriend, girlfriend, and it was like, there's just nobody else. Like, I don't know. I was done then, like 20 years old. I'm like, holy crap, I found her.
Yeah,
And
I think you're still infatuated with
I
her.
am. 22 years later.
Based on my observations.
Oh, you're so cute.
It's bad. I'm telling you. I should probably see somebody.
It's good though too.
It is good because it's still the same. Like, that fire that was there at 20 I'm 40 now, and it's still there. Like, it's still really, really there. So for me, it was, I knew then, I saw in her who she could be, and I don't think she did. And so I was like, I bought the stock way low. Like, I stole that.
Wow.
Yeah. And then it just skyrocketed. Now she's like Amazon. Oh man. Yeah, that was like my thought process, is like, she's amazing. And I don't know if she knows it yet. And if she figures it out before I put a ring on it, she's probably going to find somebody that matches that. And I didn't match it. At that time, I was just a 20-year-old punk guy. Like, I didn't match it at all. And so I just was like, shit, I better put a ring on this one. And
So age 19, I know a lot happened between then and when you actually got into real estate.
Yeah.
We can skip all those years because we don't have
right.
time to talk
I could be here
about
for 4
22
hours.
years,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. Yeah.
But when Nick first got into real estate, well, I should ask both of you. I'll ask Diana first. We just listened to you talk for a while.
About your infatuation, I actually might call someone. You're right, babe.
Yeah, I think I'm perfect.
Okay.
When he first got into real estate, I know that building the business is hard. You don't have income right away either. So that in itself is a stress. What were things like for you guys in your relationship at that time?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so he was doing flooring, and I think most people are aware of the lovely housing crash. I was pregnant with our middle one. So this is like 13 years ago. And he came home and basically was laid off. and there was just no more work. Everything was stopped.
Can you just add that it was by my dad?
I was going to say, wait, that's by his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it wasn't it wasn't, obviously,
it wasn't
happy
bad. Like,
about
I think
it.
they tried to keep it going as long as they could, but they're just,
happens.
it was a really rough time. Obviously, nothing we've ever seen before. And then I was pregnant, had a toddler, and on maternity leave, something crazy, and he's like, okay, well, I really want to go into real estate. And I think my jaw hit the floor, like, we might lose our house. Like, what? That's such a random thing. So, but I just trusted that, okay, like, here we go. Let's try whatever. But it was rough. He had 3 other jobs besides real estate, 2 other jobs besides real estate. I was on WIC when the baby was born. Like, it was crazy. I mean, it was just such a hard time. We had nothing. And it was like that for probably a couple of years. And then it started to get a little better and more experience and all of that. But I mean, he was just never home. Just got to work and figure it out.
I feel like that was such a sugar-coated version
Go for it.
of how it happened.
Tell us.
Right?
Give us the explicit version.
Yeah. She was going to fucking kill me. No, it was so prefaced by saying at 14, she ran her house. She paid bills. She grocery shopped. She was in charge of the home at 14. And she knew that every other week there was going to be income coming into her house that she could pay her bills with. And she could go grocery shopping and structure whatever she was going to do with it. Well, in real estate, there's no paychecks that come in. And you can't count them on 2 hands how many times we sat down and she was like, do you have any closings coming? And you knew when she asked that question, we were running out of money. And that was always like the fear, right? But we didn't run out like completely. It was very minimal at times, very minimal at times. And it was hard. It was hard. But also for her to be like, yeah, go do it. It was like, all right, I better not screw this up. Right. Like it was like, gotta lose yourself. Right. You got one shot, make it work. And we did, I had 3 jobs at the time. Luckily for us, we were fortunate enough at that time, and still that she was employed at Kaiser. So I never had to worry about paying for benefits. I knew my family medically was going to be covered through her work. So I didn't have to worry about that portion. It was just like, can I put enough food on the table? Can I pay the rent? And that's really where it started. And a check would come in to us, and I would be like, okay, that will cover us for the next 2.5 months, or that would cover the next 3 months. And I knew I had from now till 90 days to get another one. And then it was like, so that's how it kind of went for a while, right? But it was every 90 days, or it was every 6 months. I was like, man, we're out of money again? How does this keep, you have to learn to keep hunting and keep going and going and going. It was brutal. It really was brutal. Somebody who came from so much structure to then come into this, it was a lot of headbutting. It was a lot of, I say conversations to be gentle with it, but it wasn't.
It's very stressful.
They weren't always good conversations, right? And that's just the way it was, And I was very naive when I got into it, how easy it was going to be to make a lot, like we were going to be filthy rich by the time I'm 25 and I got to work no more. And that's not the case.
But that's how people outside of real estate think, that it's easy and realtors are rich and they make all this money on houses, and then you get into it and you're like, you work your butt off for everything that you get, and it doesn't come easy. Nothing comes easy. So
all the financial stress. Meanwhile, you're working around the clock. So you guys aren't getting that much quality time together. And I know personally for me, when I don't have quality time in my relationship, there's a huge disconnect. And so I'm sure you guys felt that. How long do you think it was like that? And what did you do during that time to make sure that you guys kept that closeness?
I think when you have that much stress and it's like life or death, we just got to make it and get through it. You just push through. It was definitely rough, and we did not have money to go do anything. I mean, we would try and catch a show. Like we started watching Big Brother probably around that time, and like we'd have that date night watching TV late at night when the kids were asleep, or it was like little things like that, because it's just make it one way or another. We got to make it.
And back then there was no guidance for us, right? We were the first ones in our friends group to do it. We were the first ones to get married. We were the first ones to have kids. And so we experienced all those things not alone, but without seeing anybody else do it. And I could tell you, for like, none of that changed. Date night, connection, any of that changed until about 3 years ago when I got my first coach. And he was like, what is the point of getting to the top of that mountain if you're there by yourself? And to me, it was so eye-opening. And I was like, well, it's not, why am I doing it? If I can't take them with me, what is the point of this? And so from then it became more important. Okay, we need to have date nights. We need to structure something to where we don't disconnect. And still to this day, it's a challenge, right? We have with now 3 kids, and they're older and they're busier. And so your life literally is running around taking them places and, doing their activities. So it's still challenging to this day to do it. But I didn't even have that thought in my head. Like, it was never even an idea to me to structure our life to where we were always the forefront of it. It was always like, I just need to work and provide, and everything else will be fine. If I make enough money, that will take care of it. And it's not like, she wants to connect. She wants her husband, right? I can have all the money, but if I'm never around, what's the point? And it's the same thought as, if I get to the top of the mountain by myself, what is the point? And then that's kind of like, all right, we need to grow. We need to do this together. Every aspect needs to be together. And then that kind of changed the mindset of it there. But I've still only gone on one vacation in 12 years without my laptop. So
I was just thinking that.
You're welcome.
yeah.
Yeah, literally, yeah, one vacation that he has not worked.
You need to do that again. A couple people who
I think he was a little stressed
Yeah.
on the vacation not having his laptop, but you made it.
It is hard, and the business doesn't stop, right? This is
Does not
24/7, and that's the industry we chose.
Well, they say when you're in real estate, you want business, just go on vacation.
Right, plan a
Phone
trip.
starts ringing.
And that's so true.
It's nuts.
It's
Yeah.
always been busy when we go away. Always.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
you said something earlier, or just a couple minutes ago, about like just pushing through. That's all you did, and I think that's probably so relatable for so many people, and especially right now, we're going into a recession. The market's shifting. People are probably back in that. I mean, we live in a very expensive area where people are in survival mode all the time anyway, but I'm sure it might be heightened right now. What advice would you guys give to couples who are kind of in that space right now, just trying to get through the day, just making it each day? Like, what are you doing for a relationship? I'm just trying to make it through the day today.
Right. I think my best advice would be try to work on communication as much as humanly possible. And that is still one of our hardest things, but it's something you have to keep working at. And like, for example, like turning off the phone or not looking. Like, sometimes I have to
Peaches.
say, this is not Peaches.
Oh, sorry.
You have to say, like, okay, I need you to actually look at me. Like, I need to tell you something, or, like, there needs to be almost a code word. Like, I really need your attention, and I need you to look at me because I need to talk to you. Because it's hard. Like, I'm like, are you busy right now? He's always busy. He's always doing something. So I have to be better. Like, I try, but I need to be better at that even now. But that's my best advice also. Keep doing that, working on communication and talking. And you need to say how you feel. Like, I need you to stop for a second and talk to me.
I've read that some families have like a charging station, and the rule is when they come home at like 6 p.m. or 7 p.m., whatever it is, that kids and
Peaches.
grown-ups.
He's uncomfortable if he's saying Peaches.
That's our code word.
Yeah.
Which
I'm going to go home to a charging station, Mari. She'd be like, give me your phone.
That would never work in our house.
but the point is
love
that
it.
everyone gets home at a certain time and they put their phone on and they have quality time. So I will sometimes go upstairs and put my phone on the charger next to my nightstand as if I'm about to go to bed, and then I come back downstairs.
That's awesome.
That's why she doesn't respond to me. Okay?
But
If I'm working, Mari, you are too.
But it's crazy. Like, I challenge everyone to do that. I'm the happiest when I don't have my phone. I'm the happiest me when I don't have my phone.
I'll get the shakes. Like,
It's like an
it's an
addiction.
addiction. Like I will get the shakes, and that's bad. That is
bad.
not. It's not a good place to be. But to answer your question, I think as we go into a time where it's a lot of uncertainty, right? The first thing that popped into my head was delete DoorDash off of your phone, and there's right there's a reason.
Save money,
right?
Delete DoorDash.
Because you have to learn to scale things back, and the last place we want to scale things back from is in my marketing, is in my lead generation, right? And these things that provide opportunities when I can eliminate outside costs to then not have to eliminate the business costs, and I can then put more into those and take advantage of agents that have decided that the market's tough. I better withdraw what I'm spending to sit on it. And I have a different approach to that. It's like I was talking, I don't remember who it was yesterday, and I said, I think I'm going to double down. Like I'm going to double down on the marketing and ad spend and those kinds of things during that time, so that when you come out of this, you have so much market share, you kind of rocket yourself, right? So it's two different thought process there. But communication is huge, and knowing your budget, knowing your structure of what your monthly costs are and things like that are huge. And I say that full disclosure, I have no idea what those numbers are. I am so fortunate that I have her, that she handles all of that. And she hasn't asked me if I have a deal closing in years. And I'm like, all right, we're doing something right now. Like, we can go on a vacation, and then she's not going to ask me on vacation if I have a deal closing. And that's when I knew, like, all right, we must be doing something right here. Yeah. But I think that the communication is a big part, and really understanding your expenses. And if you have kids, like this, as we go through this next, whatever this time is going to bring us as far as recession or economic shift or whatever it's going to be, I'm taking my kids on that ride with us. And I've kind of opened up to the older ones. Like, listen, things could be tough for a while. The free-for-all spending will have to stop. And, like if you're hungry or mom is not home for dinner and I'm not home or whatever the case may be, ordering out isn't going to be the option all the time. Find something in the house. There's plenty of things to eat here and to drink here. So find something in here without spending the money to get something from outside delivered to you. So they've never gone through anything like this, right? So I feel as a dad, it's part of my responsibilities to share at an appropriate level for them. Like my son, I'll open up the books and let him see. I don't care. I want him to understand these things that you're not going to learn in school, and how to manage and how to move. And he's 15 now, so he's starting to work. He's starting to make money, things like that. And how do you manage it? And I had to tell him, like, your money is not for DoorDash. Like, that's a terrible use of your money. Imagine how hard you worked for it and how easy it goes away on a cheeseburger. Like, there's just nothing there. So bringing them along for the journey, I think, really helps too, and teaching them how to get through those down times or tough times.
From a couple's perspective, like Diana said, communication, but these are the times when most people, the statistics are there. Mm-hmm. People are in this fight or flight mode, and they are disconnected from their partner because both people, even though they're both working just as hard to keep the household going, they're disconnected, and people find distractions in other people, or they break up. So what advice would you give to people who want to make sure that they keep their relationship strong and intact, and they're with that person who's always going to do the work, and they don't let the stress of what's happening in the world kind of distract them from what's important? Because most people regret it,
Yeah, they do.
I think just remembering that your spouse isn't your enemy. Like, it's hard when you're in it and like life is coming at you. Like we had an incident today with our middle one, and you want to pull your hair out, and you're like, I'm telling Nick about it, and I'm like mad, but I'm not mad at him. Like, he's not my enemy. Like, we have to be a united front and deal with the kids. And we also we run the real estate business together. So, and that might not be the same for everybody else, but if there is something, like, we kind of bounce things off of each other. Like, if we're spending money or things need to be cut, or even just on the business end of it, like, well, this isn't working, this isn't producing, or whatnot. So we have a little more transparency there. And that helps, I think, because you're talking about all the finances, not just personal, but business also. And that helps. But I don't know.
Two questions that we ask each other frequently. How are you? And how are you really doing?
I was just going to say, and is it, how are you really?
Yeah. And
They're always different.
Of course.
what?
Always a different answer.
Yeah. And I think, like allowing your spouse to really tell you how they're doing allows you to understand more of what they're going through and how they're channeling things and how the pressures of whatever they're going through are affecting them. And then it frees up conversation. And I had a coach tell me one time that it's like for them it's a once a week Saturday morning coffee kind of conversation. Just it's a check-in. How are you really doing? And I think when you get to that point with your spouse where you can have that open conversation, and this is me failing at this miserably for a long time. I am terrible at communicating. I would rather not talk to you for 60 days than tell you how I really feel for whatever reason that is. Maybe it's my childhood of like, we just didn't do that. We didn't communicate openly. She's always been very good at communicating, very open. For me, it's always been a challenge. So having her like really, how are you doing? And being like, okay, I can actually tell her like, I'm very stressed out. I have this happening, or I lost a deal, or whatever it is, right? Like she's not going to hate me for whatever answer I give her. And it's an opportunity where you're free to be yourself 100% without your spouse, one, getting upset, or two, holding it against you later or bringing it up when things aren't going well, right? Because there's nobody that knows how to push me to a crazy spot more than she does. Like she knows the buttons, right? And I know hers, right? And that's, part of being in a relationship, but it's the mindset to not use those against each other.
No, and I think that's good if you can both agree to be vulnerable in that moment and actually say how you're feeling, because it allows the other to feel more compassionate towards each other. Mm-hmm. Because when we are stressed, I'm sure we all present behaviors that are very unpleasant.
Yes.
And it allows you to say like, okay, that's why they're like that. It's not personal. And then you actually feel bad for them. Oh my gosh, I wish that they weren't like that as a result of these feelings, instead of being angry with them. So I think that's really, really important, because whenever anyone's acting any way, it's based on some sort of underlying feeling. Mm-hmm. And being able to understand that allows you to be more compassionate, which is to have a relationship last for 22 years, compassion definitely has to be involved.
Yeah. Especially if you're with me. Yeah. But and to her, she's a fixer. So anytime I'm upset, she wants to fix it. Right?
I mean, she's not doing a very good job.
I know. Because she can't fix it. Because I'm not upset with her. Right? It's like whatever happens, it's not her fault.
I'm still working on it.
I'm joking. I think she did quite a bit of fixing.
No,
she's done really, really well. But she'd be like, man, I can't figure it out. Like, how do I make him happy? It's like, you can't tell my client to put that offer in that I told them they should have put in 3 days ago, right? You have no control of that. But now I'm irritated or frustrated with that process, and it comes out in you, and then she wears it. It has nothing to do with her.
Well, and and there's other jobs that are similar, but it's not a 9 to 5 where I'm like, okay, I will deal with this at the office tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. There's nothing I can do now. It's not like that. So you bring it home and you wear it, and your family's affected by it, and those are struggles. Yeah.
And learning to shut that off is hard too, right? To come home and just be like, okay, dad mode, husband mode.
Right.
Like I've started, times where I would sit on my front porch for like just 5 minutes before I go inside, just to breathe, collect myself, have a moment, recap the day mentally, kind of flush it, put it where it needs to be, and then go inside and be like, okay, imagine you walk into a house with 3 kids and 3 dogs. Like, it's going to be a little chaos happening, right? So if you expect to go home and just chill and have a glass of wine, it's not happening. 9,000 questions are coming your way. There's 14 pairs of shoes on your way through the door. It's just life, right? So it's learning that helped me as well. But her understanding that you can't fix it, right? You can't fix it. And then being vulnerable.
I'm trying to realize I can't fix everything.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It is hard. That's hard.
This is like a lot of therapy too.
Yeah.
We can talk about that later on if you want to, but.
Yeah, I actually think you both do an amazing job, because if I walked into a house with 3 kids and 3 dogs, I mean, you could give me like 20 cats and I'd be fine.
We have 2 of those. We only have 2 of those. Yeah, but you don't ever see them because we have 3 dogs.
The dogs and the kids being involved, I mean.
Yeah.
Well, my cats, they steal the sponges. You can't do the dishes. They fit right in the circus I have. So.
Do cats really like sponges? Or is it
They
just
just
ours?
like fucking with you.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
what do they like? What if something goes missing? What will piss them off
Yeah.
the most?
The
And they
sponge.
go around the house hunting
Yeah,
for
I'm
that,
like,
and then they hide
"Where's
it.
my sponge?"
see, I knew the cat was taking my keys. Wasn't me.
Okay, so 22 years of overcoming challenges, growing together, growing separately, figuring out you can't fix each other. Each of you, if you could go back and do one thing differently, what would it be?
Go ahead. I have to.
I'm pondering.
In 22 years, if I could do something differently, one, I would have learned that Jack Daniels is terrible. A lot younger.
It is terrible.
Yeah, for sure would have
For
taken that
Mr.
out
Smith.
of. For sure would have taken that out of my life earlier. And I think if I could go back, I would learn. I would communicate more. I would be okay being vulnerable at a much younger age, and understanding like that is literally my best friend, and I don't care what we go through, she's not leaving my side. And if you can grasp like 5% of that concept, I think it puts you leaps and bounds ahead of a lot of people who get into relationships or married couples where they, like the private accounts, like my money, or this is our family money, and then I have my own. Like that shit, it baffles me. Any type of separation like that, it's like I don't get it, and that's just how I'm made. But if I can go back younger, I would just be super, like right away, I would tell her, like, listen, I'm jacked up, and this is going to be a rough ride. I love you, and I'm never leaving you.
Thank you for being here.
But just hold on. This shit's going to be crazy. It's going to be fun.
That's really good advice, because all of us are naturally very protective of ourselves, especially if we've been through anything in the past that has made us feel like we need to protect ourselves, and we do it unknowingly. So, and you're right. Once you make that commitment, like, we are going to be together. As soon as you can actually accept that, everything becomes easier. And not only easier, but way better.
And because there's no choice at that point. Like, holy crap, we're going through this storm, but we know we're both going to come out of it because there's no other option.
And we're going to have each other.
And we're going to, both of us will be there at the end of this ride. And learning that at 20, 22 years old, oh man, I'd probably be retired by now.
I think if I could go back, I think I would stress and worry less than I did. I think I made myself sick worrying about tomorrow. I think I would do less of that and enjoy life more. And I think, why are you laughing?
Because I thought you were going to say I wasn't going to go to 7-Eleven that night. I would have fixed everything.
I think I would have taken more risks and probably
Yeah.
been more encouraging of you taking more risks. I think if we could have done things at 20, 22, 24 and not be scared. I hate to say it, but we lived life very scared for a long time.
Yeah.
And-
And that comes from that 2-week paycheck. That comes from having the retirement plan. That comes from that pension, right? Just get there, you'll be fine. But obviously this business that we're in, there's no pension, there's no retirement, right? It's all you. Whatever you get is what you earned. And that's how this industry works.
Right.
And so, I wish we would have been better too and had some, a portfolio of properties or taking some risks on business adventures or flips or whatever it may be. That would.
Well, it's the mindset. And I think the pandemic, actually, there were parts of it that were really good for us because we learned to pivot. I mean, pivot was our magic 2020 word, and we did a lot. And we thought outside the box and figured it out. And I think that was the first time I was like, okay, we could do anything. And it shifted to, okay, if we lost everything, guess what? We're going to wake up tomorrow and earn it all back. Like, let's go. And it's a different mindset than what are we going to do? We're going to be destitute. It's okay. Well, we did it before. We'll do it again.
Yeah.
And honestly, mindset is huge. I know that's like a common theme all over the world today, but even like when you were saying she can't help that this client is upset,
Right.
or whatever's happening, or this deal might go to shit. But if you just actually think in your mind, what's the worst thing that can happen?
Right.
Deal gets canceled. I lose a client.
Right.
Who fucking cares?
Yeah.
Like, it's
Right.
not worth your health. It's not worth the stress. If you know you're putting your best foot
Of
forward.
course.
I'm
If you're
not
doing the
saying
right
don't
thing.
care about
Right.
it, but there's some things that are completely out of your control.
Yes.
And it's not worth the stress. And there was even just an agent in here, and she was saying, but what if the deal, what if this, what if they want to cancel? I was like, then you're going to have to get through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? You can't.
What do you mean?
Right. You can't be controlled by other people's decisions, right? Especially they're going to make them regardless of what you think.
Yes, and you might as well just, if they're actually going to cancel, let them cancel and figure it out rather than drawing out the inevitable.
Yeah.
It's hard, though, to not have expectations of other people in your life, like even family and friends. Even in this business, like we've had friends use other realtors, or, they'll get advice from someone else or come to you for advice and then still use someone else. And having to navigate, we've had family do that. It's, for us, we don't know their perception. We don't know the way that they look at it. And it's not really for us to know. And really, are those deals going to make or break us? No, they're not. Okay, we don't need your money anyway.
And it stings a little, but at the end of the day, your family and friends are not responsible for paying your bills.
They are not.
And so you have to look
they
at it
are
like
not.
that.
You just want them to trust you, and I get that. But it's.
So I think anytime I've had a friend or family use a different realtor, like you said, they always come to you, and I end up helping them every single day of the entire transaction, and I do it happily with a smile on my face.
You're a better person than me.
Not only do they see wow,
yeah,
I chose the wrong person,
right,
and then they refer everyone else to me. They'll say, don't use this person. Mari actually helped me the whole time.
Yeah.
So, and we're in the business of helping people, so I don't mind sharing my skills and knowledge, but if you can learn to just let that sting for just 2 seconds.
Yeah,
and then in your mind, let it go.
Yeah.
And just offer the world what you have to offer. I really feel like it pays off.
Yeah.
And having, lowering your expectations of other people around you. And that's except your spouse, right? This is my best friend and my ride or die. We got this together. We want people in our life, but okay, it's your loss, and we got this. We can do it. It's fine. We'll be fine.
And this might sound really bad, but it makes me actually feel bad for people, because a lot of the time it'll be well, I wanted to use you, but my husband's mom said we had to use for a sister this, and I'm like, wow, you weak little.
Yeah.
I am.
Does your mom pick your date nights too?
I'm just I've never been one to ever let anybody else change my mind or not do the research to make the best decision, especially with a huge financial decision.
It is.
Never in a million years would I let someone else choose my realtor prior to being in real estate.
Right.
I would have done the research, asked the questions, and if my significant other's mom told me to use somebody else, I'd tell them, you can use them for your house, and I'm going to use my realtor for my house.
Yeah.
So it also makes me...
I just want to know how that interview process would go. Now I'm like, that would be awesome if Mari was like, all right, sit down. You want to be my agent? Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I don't know.
Well, I do that for people now. When I go on listing appointments, they say, okay, well, we're interviewing a couple other realtors. And I say, okay, I'll email you a list of questions you can ask them.
Ah, nice. Good. Yeah.
So,
Love it.
Anyway, I don't even know how we got on that tangent.
I don't remember.
I think it was not having expectations of people.
Oh,
outside of your relationship, just
yeah.
putting
If
your
you
relationship
use
at the
another agent,
forefront.
we'd have a serious problem.
Right. I'm
gonna
definitely
use
not
me.
using another agent.
She's going to call Mari and be like, I can't work with him.
I'm going to be like, let me tell you the interview questions for him.
I actually have to say, from selling and buying houses
careful.
married.
Be careful.
Are we peaches again?
No, I don't know what you're about to say.
It's it's hardest being married to your realtor, because I think there's the expectation. See that my favorite word of the day, expectation that I know what's happening. And I'm like, wait, you still have to tell me.
No.
Great
Yeah,
example.
no.
Diana was calling me the whole time. Your transaction. And I was explaining everything.
Tell me what's happening.
Okay, time out.
Peaches?
No, that's fine, because now we're going to get into something good, because there's an expectation from my end that you have enough trust and belief in me to know that I'm going to be okay, that I'm going to handle this the right way, that I'm going to get you to where you want to get to. And I didn't handle that transaction as if you were a client. I handled that transaction as if you were my spouse, and I'm going to drive this bus to where we need to go. And when we get there, you're going to be happy. But
Are you getting a little feisty?
Well,
there?
no. But part of my expectation was get in, sit down, and we're going to go. I got it. In reality, it should have been, hey, babe, sit down. Let me explain this to you so you can go on this journey with me, right? Looking back on it. And that was only 6-8 months ago.
And I'm really nosy.
Well,
So-
especially she manages the books.
Also true.
Also
So
true.
it's
you
hard
need
because
me.
she manages the books. Diego and I
Mm-hmm.
manage the books and I do the real estate. So I'm like, email sign in your inbox now. And he's like, dink.
Yeah.
You know, he is not as invested as she is because he's like,
Yeah.
imagine if it were the other way around. You wouldn't even ask her one question. You'd be like, when are we moving in?
Right. Right. And then she's like, wait, how much are we spending? Right. She's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. We're going to spend whatever we have to get what we want. That's what I thought we were doing.
Well, how much are we making on our house,
Yeah,
too?
exactly. Exactly.
See, I had questions.
But we did it. We did the whole
We
move. It
made
didn't touch
it.
our savings account. Just so you
Exactly.
guys know out
Yeah,
there.
no, that is honestly a huge success.
Yeah.
That is a huge success.
We upgraded big time and didn't touch our own money. We used it all in real estate. So if you're on the fence, now's a great time to get off of it and call me.
No, that was the best, like the best time, best decision.
Yeah.
We're so happy now. And
Yeah, and you guys did that while everyone else was, well, not everyone else, but many people in the world were scared to do anything
Yeah.
in real estate.
Yeah.
right?
That's why my interest rate starts with a 2.
Don't rub it in. I feel like it's a little like salt and
That one,
so
that one
good,
was.
though.
It does. Well, especially now, but no, that was luck of timing.
So I consider 22 years together to be a huge, huge success in
Me
today's
too. How much
world.
longer do we go?
Thank you.
I admire you guys.
How long is this contract? What's the warranty?
Forever.
But there's always
ma'am.
room to improve. And like you said, like how much longer can we do this?
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have any plans for your future of ways you're going to work on your marriage or make your marriage better or give each other more time or do something for the other?
Yes. None of that's coming out into the microphone. What
It
I was
has to,
thinking.
that's why
No,
you're
no, no,
here.
no, no. That was not for the podcast.
It was
no,
peaches?
it was definitely peaches. Yes.
Okay,
it
got
was
it.
definitely peaches. Go ahead. You can answer. What are we gonna do? How the hell are we gonna keep on this ride?
Well, let's finish raising these kids and animals and all the stuff. And, you know, I think just growing and still working on our communication and just knowing that we're two imperfect people just trying to love each other the best we can, even though we suck at it a lot of the time. I mean, we love each other well, but, you know,
Are there any tools that you've used or books that you've read that have helped with that communication piece?
my
Because I know
gosh,
that
yes.
communication's not something you can just instantly be like, I'm better at it now.
No, it's definitely a decision. Like, this might not come out right, but I'm gonna say it. This might hurt your feelings, but I'm gonna say it, and I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. And I think for us, for me personally, it's about surrounding yourself with people who can help you along the way. And I'm a firm believer that people come in and out of your life for reasons. I've mentioned coaching a few times. Like, that was tremendous in my life. The last 3 years that I had my coach, he took me to places I didn't know I could get to on our relationship. And it was always about that balance of having it all together, right? Like, I think here is a great place work-wise because I could come into here and we can work, but I could also be like, hey, Mar, this is what we're doing. Like, she's not happy with me. And Mari always says, just give her a hug. Anytime she's mad at you, give her a hug because that's really, even though she's not saying it, when we're upset as people, we want someone to give us a hug.
You want to be held,
just
even
give
though
up-
you're
exact-
putting up that tough person
Yeah.
Exactly.
exterior.
You
really,
just wanna
it's
be
like
held.
You want to be held.
And so
Because
having
it doesn't
people,
feel good when you're upset. It's because something's doesn't feel good.
it's not
inside.
right. Yeah, exactly. And so having people like that to help you and not being
Tribe.
scared to get help. Like, we've been together a long time. Yeah, we're definitely the longest tenured relationship in a lot of our groups. And it's expanded beyond that high school group, right? And now friends and families that we've joined and become really tight with from our kids and their sports and things like that. A lot of those parents have not been married as long as we have. And a lot of them are on their second marriage and a lot of them have mixed families, right? And you look at that and you're like, I don't want to have to call somebody else to see if I can have my kids, right? I don't want to have to schedule my vacations around a weekend that I have them. And when you see those kinds of things, I think it makes you fight harder for what you do have. And honestly, when you can have me as your spouse, like, what the hell
Oh
else
my
do you want in the
gosh,
world?
peaches. No, I think the tribe is so important.
tribe is important.
because, like they can talk you off a cliff, and it's ironic, but this too shall pass. Sometimes you just have to keep saying it over in your head, because you could have a horrible fight, and like you just are not on the same page, and I don't like you right now. I love you, but I don't like you, and it's okay. But knowing next week I will love you and like you again, and it'll be fine.
That's a good week.
But, I think we rush to, the bitterness, and then you're, too proud to,
I'm
say
not
that
too
you
proud to
messed
beg.
up or what. But, I mean, some people, you can see, their arguments will go on a long time, or, they really struggle. And it's like, okay, this too shall pass. And your tribe is super important. And I feel like my favorite book that we've done together was The Love Languages. I know. It really helped during, some really hard times in those 22 years. And I highly recommend. Loved it.
Yeah, and even for people who may have already read it and you thought it wasn't helpful, try reading it again, because
Yeah.
the first time I read it and I was like, this is stupid. The second time I read it, I was like, oh, I'm stupid.
Right? In the season that you're in too helps.
And it can change.
Yep.
And it can change.
So that's, it's
What did we
just
do? We
learning.
did Fireproof.
Oh, we did Fireproof also. That was also really good.
Fireproof your marriage. That was good for us.
Also really good.
That was a good portion. And I feel like for us, we grew up together, right? Like, there's so many stories that we have and times that we have. I don't think either one of us would ever want to start that over again. And it's just not worth it, because you've built something so amazing that, even though you're going through a shitstorm at some point, or you can't stand your spouse, or you said you don't like you, maybe you hate them for a while, right? But that too shall pass, and you will learn to love them again. And one of the biggest things I learned on loving my spouse was not to love her as I want to be loved, but I need to love her as she wants to be loved. And our love languages are different, and learning those and understand.
Very different.
Which is, I think that's typical.
I think it is too, right? And it's like,
For all the people who have the same love language, congratulations.
yeah, right. Better high five
Can't
your
even
spouse.
imagine how
right?
those relationships are going.
They're amazing.
And you need to remember, love is a choice. You have to get up and
It's a
make
decision.
a choice to love your spouse. It's not easy. When they say oh, I don't love you, I'm not in love with you anymore. Well, that's a choice.
You're choosing not to love
Yeah,
me.
love is not, it's not like that. It doesn't work that way. You have to put time and effort and energy into it. And if you loved them once, then you can love them again. So.
Yes. And I think being in a relationship for this long, even my relationship's only been 6 years, but you see that go down. When you see it come back, you're like, that's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
when you're like,
Like,
okay.
oh, we're
valleys.
back.
Yes.
We're back.
I can't, like you said, if you love them once, you can love them again. And when it comes back, you're like, oh my gosh, I really can. I thought it was gone.
Yeah.
And so I think once that happens the first time, you're like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah, and okay, we can make it through it. That feeling again, right? It's reignited in you.
Yeah. And life's peaks and valleys. It would be so boring if it was just a desert road, It's.
I mean, I think I'd be pretty happy on the desert road. Just on a
Would
beach.
you though?
Yeah, I would.
It's Death Valley. It's not.
Yeah,
that
if she had a
As
beach,
long as I had little kittens,
I was gonna
just
say,
popping off
if
to the
she-
side of the road every once in a while, I'd be good.
I have the video game
as long as
in
she
my
had
head.
her canned food in her car to feed the cats, she'd be fine.
Dry end.
No, because the mountaintop is great.
It is.
That's true.
The mountaintop.
That is true.
The mountaintop is great, but I don't think you ever get there. I don't think you ever get to the top. And if you do, I don't think I ever want to get to the top. I would just want to, as my girl Miley always said, it's the climb. Right? It's about that process and the climb and growing together.
Okay.
And then breaking shit and doing it
Top
again.
question. How many times have you put song references into this podcast?
Just 2. You guys missed the first
No,
one.
I didn't. Caught it.
Oh. I think just 2.
Eminem.
Oh, no, 3. I forgot about him. Sorry. All right.
Good job. All
Just
right.
3.
Happy wife, happy lifetime.
Yes.
Tell us why Diana is the absolute best. And if you forget anything, I will not.
Pinch me. How long does this segment last to explain?
No, it has to be short. Okay, this needs to
Okay.
be more of a challenge,
A challenge?
2 minutes.
Happy wife, happy life. What makes her the best? It's a lot. It's a lot that makes her the best, but I think her heart is so pure that it allows other people to come into her life and to lean on her for strength when they need strength. And knowing her story and knowing her life, and then to see her in a place where people come to her when they need help, like, that's my girl. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's a tough question because there's so many things, but I think if I had to narrow down, it would be that's one of the things that makes her truly amazing. I mean, she's a phenomenal mom, right? She makes sure the kids are so well taken care of. Like, she's a great wife. She's a good daughter. Like, all of those things are there.
Aww.
And her heart is just pure. I'm not going to look at her.
I'll just add a couple of things in. She's prepared for everything.
Okay.
All the time.
For real. For real. How about a couple weeks ago when the kid broke his arm at the soccer game? She's just sitting there.
Out? Did you pull out the materials and wrap
him
in the cast?
No, but there's 2 soccer teams there. Who do you think they called on? Her. And she's yelling, somebody get me some sticks. Like, she's going to make the cast. Like, that's just who she is. She's like, get the ambulance here, right? Like, like she takes full control of the scenario. Doesn't know the kid at all. And I wasn't there, but his parents weren't there. Poor kid breaks his arm, and his parents aren't even there. So now she's mom. She's nurse. She's mom. She's got the paramedics coming. She's telling the soccer coaches how to act, what to do. Like, and you're right. She has everything. They call her the snack lady on every team we're on. If snacks and first aids, and if we were ever to go on a road trip and our car to break down, we're good for at least 2 weeks, right in that car. We don't need anything. 2 weeks. She probably got a Wi-Fi for me so I can work. She's got a hotspot and everything you need to live for 2 weeks.
Snacks.
So,
and then the other thing
very
I'm going to add
prepared.
about her
Yes.
is that she, like she said, love is a choice, but she really makes the effort more than most people that I've ever seen in relationships. And I'll be like, God, you're amazing. I can't believe you do that.
Oh my gosh.
And she'll be like, no, I had to try really hard. I didn't want to do that, but I put so much effort into trying. And I'm like, good job. Like, note to self, fucking try.
I should write that one down.
Like, and that is huge. That is honestly what keeps a relationship going for 22 years is someone willing to put the effort in. So
It is a lot of
that's what I
effort.
admire about
It
you.
is a lot of effort.
Friend, love you.
Did
I mean,
wanna
I love
add
you
another
too,
question?
babe.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Did
Should
I just
we-
get
I know you're so
uninvited?
sweet. I feel like I need to come back if you're just going to keep giving me accolades the whole
Well, this is how he is when you're not around. He only
What?
puts up that tough exterior we were talking about this whole time on the podcast when he's with you. When he's not with you, he's like,
It's crazy. It's
She's
weird,
amazing.
right? It's so bad, and it's just from that.
I'm
the
every day, I'm
beginning.
like, why is she the best? He's like, she's the best.
Yeah. I do say that a lot.
You're
huh?
so cute.
All right,
I
let's
do.
flip it
Yeah.
because I can't just do happy wife, happy life.
Right?
Nick was complaining about that earlier. So why is Nick the absolute best?
Oh my gosh. I think,
Other than his singing all day, every
Mm.
day, dancing.
you know, he's the glass half full, like to my, but why? And my million questions. I mean, there's so many things really, but, and he
It's
also.
okay. We have plenty of time.
He really, no matter what, even through my complaining, he wants to take care, like he innately wants to take care of me and the kids, like to provide and protect and all of the things that I really admire about him as a man. And he makes me laugh all the time, which is my favorite thing about him is I laugh all the time.
Yeah, because if you can't laugh all day long, you'll cry all day long. So
Right?
the laughing.
I
is
want to
super
laugh.
helpful.
That's
all
quite
day
a
long.
choice in life. Just thought because I was funny.
So that's what I'm saying. It makes the hard times, if you're laughing through the hard times, it
Yeah.
helps a lot.
And he's confident in me, and that's and that makes a huge difference.
And
in
Superwoman, who isn't
Oh my
confident in
gosh,
Superwoman.
he's. So, I mean, it is like we actually another kid that had broke his arm or his wrist, like. during
Oh, that's
baseball.
right. She ran onto the baseball
And-
field.
Well, only because he's like Elaine.
Oh, yeah, I ran out of the dugout calling her.
Ooh. Like okay, I'm coming.
I took one peek and I was like, I was gonna throw up, and I'm like, that shit's not supposed to be that way.
Your arm
Elaine,
doesn't go like
and that's
that.
what I call her, is Elaine, and she came around the field, and it's like, and his parents weren't there either.
His parents weren't there either.
More sticks. Give me sticks.
This
give
is
me.
true.
And she's like, she sent this dad. You go to the gas station. I need ice. Like she went into she's not a nurse. Like what the heck? Yeah, she went into nurse mode.
Well, Well, I mean, I do go to codes, so there's that.
Yeah. So, but anyway, back to me.
Yeah, I'm only a heart nurse.
Is that it? No. All right.
I mean, I feel like that was a lot.
It was enough. It'll suffice for today.
Well, thank you both for being here.
Yeah.
I know that
you.
being in a relationship with a realtor can be very challenging.
Also very rewarding.
Yes, I know. I shouldn't make it sound so negative. We also, like, he can pick up the kids and take them to practice and go back to work. And there's flexibility that I would not like to do without now, knowing what we know.
It's very rewarding now.
Yeah.
It is. Now to be able to take them
flexibility
places and
is
do
nice.
things. My kids are doing things that I've never done before. I'm experiencing things for the first time with them. And that part to me is probably my favorite for those memories that we'll have forever.
Yeah, sorry, I had to throw in a positive.
That is cool.
Yeah. Real estate is awesome. Being a spouse of a realtor, I don't know how awesome that role is, but
If you need help, call me.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming today.
Thank you for having
I
us.
always love talking to you guys.
You're more than welcome.
At least you could laugh.
Thanks so much for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you're listening from.
Hey, it's me, Ryan Evanson. Make sure you check out my podcast episode on $1 Million Listening with Mari Wines and E3 Realty.